Hey, did you know that Sony Entertainment Music Group Japan has its own Vtuber organization? I'm actually sure that some of you do know that, but there's a reason that I'm bringing it up. Unfortunately, as of March 31st, 2024, the Prism Project VTuber organization and VTuber brand will cease operations. That's the name of the VTuber organization that Sony is in charge of. It's sad to see another VTuber organization disband, go under, not find success, but there is a silver lining. Let's see, where does it say? After careful consideration and discussion between management and talents regarding each talent's goals and virtual performers, and with an eye towards industry trends and considerable staff resources required not only to sustain but further growth the brand, together we have made the incredibly difficult decisions to cease talent management operations and make it possible for each talent to continue their talent activities under their current talent names and character IPs. Long story short, all of the VTubers in this organization get to keep what they've earned, and the only thing that they're really losing is the managerial side going on behind the scenes. So this isn't a mass graduation situation. Each individual talent can continue doing what they're doing independently if they so choose, which is great. That's really cool. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of recent corporate decisions that have led to some very sad departures, and I think that it's really cool that they recognize that they don't want to join the list of people, they want to join the list of industry black marks, I guess. So that's neat. But I also wanted to talk about why VTuber organizations are going under. Why are they failing? It's really, really hard to pull off. But you wouldn't be able to tell that if you only looked at the organizations and agencies that are being successful. A lot of that has to do with most of them trying to copy HoloLive. I keep up with all of this stuff going on with different agencies as best I can, but to be honest, I have my own very strong opinions about corporate VTubing, and most of them are not very positive, so, it's more of just, as an outsider, kind of looking in takes. But I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that a lot of these agencies saw the success and relative success of HoloLive and Nijisanji respectively, and said, oh yeah, we can totally do that, no problem. And their formats look very, very similar to what Nijisanji and HoloLive are doing. And you kind of get this unfortunate sense of cheap knockoff. Like every single time. And that's a part of why you can't really shake this feeling that these agencies don't have any identity of their own. And that's because they're chasing a trend that they don't understand. Like, they're looking at the explosive popularity of Gargura and of HoloLive, Myth, and Council, and they're confident that they can do something similar, but they don't understand what made them successful to begin with. So, if you look at what did make those those generations of the agency so successful and so explosive and popular, you'll realize that it's mostly because there weren't a lot of VTubers, indie or corporate, that were doing the same thing. There was no overlap. So they were able to strike a target demographic without any sort of conflict. They tapped a market that a lot of people didn't know was even there to begin with. And they were able to take full and complete advantage of that, and that's what made them successful. But when you don't have a target demographic, you end up with this question of, who is this content even for? You'll have a bunch of people who are new to the scene trying to compete with industry giants, and then we'll wonder why they're not doing so well. If you're going to do the cute anime girl doing cute things, you need to ask yourself, are people really going to watch this person over Gargura? Like, really? Are people really going to pick this over Koseki Bijo? Be honest now. No. No, they're not going to do that. Now, if they're streaming at a time where those bigger streamers aren't live or aren't doing things, then you might get some runoff. But so long as you're only receiving the leftovers of what the industry leaders are doing, success is going to be something that's pretty much rooted in relative failure. Like, you're competing for second, third, fourth. No, let's be honest, you're competing for like 25th place. Because you have certain indie agencies that are breakouts, like Face Connect. Well, why is Face Connect doing so well amongst the giants? Again, this goes back to having a target demographic. I want to be as nice as I possibly can, but all of the members of Phase Connect are a little bit... No, there's no nice way to put it. They're nuts. They're just crazy. And I don't just mean Pippa and Tenma, I mean like Ina, Irie, they're crazy. But that's a good thing, because people are there for it. It's entertaining, it's refreshing, and no other agency is tapping into the market of just unhinged female entertainer. And that's not something that you're going to see on some business report, because if you were to pitch this idea to somebody at Sony, oh yeah, let's make a VTuber group of closet cases that are off their meds, you're probably going to get kicked out of the office. Because it's a risk. Hololive, Nijisanji, Phase Connect, all of the agencies that you see flourishing are taking risks. And yes, not all of them pan out, but for the most part, you're seeing success because they're innovating. And innovation is very, very important. Now, they're not innovating technically, which is something that frustrates me personally, because, you know, you hire your artist to make the model, make the designs, and then you hire a rigger to make it all move and look all fluid, and that's great. Sure, fine. But at the end of the day, it's just more VTubers. And yeah, they have management and they have staff working to help them from behind the scenes, but us as viewers aren't really ever going to see that. So there really isn't that much difference between a new 2D VTuber that's indie and a new 2D VTuber that's in a grassroots agency. They're pretty much one and the same. Now you have your standouts. For example, Ichiban. They have 2D VTubers, but they're doing a lot of things for their fans, such as having like indie games. They do a lot of merchandising. They're doing things that other VTuber agencies don't do, even though the innovation isn't exactly on the VTuber side of things. I don't think Prism Project has really done that. A lot of these agencies kind of just want to throw money at stuff, and they've deluded themselves into thinking that if they spend the money on the production side of things, they'll earn it all back with interest, and that's not how this works. I mean, for crying out loud, they have Teddy Lloyd on one of their original songs, and that's really cool. But it's like, okay, now what else you got? What else? I'm looking here and I'm like, okay, who are these VTubers supposed to be trying to appeal to? They're separated by generations 1 through 7. And I don't see any distinguishable theme. They kind of just look like a random assortment of VTubers, and there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're an organization, you kind of need to be a little bit organized, maybe. But it's that combination of things that is what I believe responsible for taking down many VTuber agencies, and VTuber groups in general. Again, I've got personal experience in trying to make a VTuber group, and that failing catastrophically. Another big key point that is the downside to any sort of organized activity is everyone kind of needs to be on the same page, and it's hard to get that many people to act professionally and know when things are serious and when things are kind of chill. And I'm not just talking about the VTubers and the talent. Having clear connections and expectations of everybody who's involved is extremely important, but it's also really, really hard to organize. Now, I don't know the structure of Prism Project, but when you have somebody who's really excited to do their activities, and you have somebody who's kind of shy but still wants to try, and you have somebody who's not really into it, who just wants to get paid, all of those conflicting vibes are going to generate tension between the staff and them as streamers. And you need to be ready to deal with those situations on like a personal level. And dealing with things on a personal level kind of eats into the business, because that's a lot of time, and time is money. So if the organization is focused on trying to turn a profit, then that means that they're not focusing on the well-being of their talent in one way or another. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's malicious, but it does mean that it's an environment that makes it hard for everyone to do the things that they need to do. And that can only go on for so long until not only are you not turning a profit, but you're losing money. You're losing members, both staff and talent. And then you have to close your doors, unfortunately. That's just how it goes. So, having the right structure of back-end support and talent expectations that are realistic and kind of fit the personalities of everyone who's doing that is really, really, really hard. But let me know what you think about Prism Project and other VTuber agencies going under. I want to hear about it. Do you think that you could run a talent agency? If so, how would you do it? I want to hear about it down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in another video.